They don't just turn you over, but they harass you in a way that forces non-steal turnovers.
You've got to try to play in the middle of the court, and that's where you want it, but poor spacing for Alabama.
Padula dumps it off. Oh, and the jam by Malik Dia, who's really turned it up. 40 points over his last 2 games.
And Dia was off to the races, beat all the other big men down the court, got rewarded from Padula.
If Alabama can figure it out in the half court, they are a great transition team, but having issues all over the place, and they draw a whistle basket tonight.
Which is unique, because a lot of teams say you've got to take away the 3 from Alabama. I think Ole Miss says, hey, they're way better from 2. Let's sag off, crowd that lane, and see if they can beat us from 3 as opposed to beating us in the paint.
And Bama 3rd in the country field goal percentage from 2. Illegal screens. Both ends of the floor, he's had similar identities in terms of tempo, but he's had elite defensive teams, he's had elite offensive teams. This one's kind of a mix of both. A near walk, here's Sears. There's the weapon. Mark Sears leading the league in scoring.
And you've got to have a guard come behind the ball handler, as Sears did there, to replace him. That's where an opening could be from deep.
Matthew Morrell for 3. It rims out and into the hands of Chris Youngblood. Youngblood in transition, walk with it, but in a very tidy 3-hour game. That was shorter than the cruise that they went on to find Gilligan's Island.
That's usually a game that the Aggies win down in College Station, but Alabama just grinds it out. Big plays in the end.
Shot clock at 7. Ole Miss is not bothered by a late clock. Turnaround heave at 3, and the rebound long into Philon's hands. Good recovery by Ole Miss, but it ends up with Dia on Sears in a mismatch right there on the block. And then another turnover. Nate Oates just turned to his bench, held up 5 fingers. That is our 5th turnover already.
This is the nation's top offense, and yet they've only got 1 field goal attempt because of plays like this. But credit Ole Miss. Juju Murray down low was in a big height disadvantage. He's got about a foot lower than Amori, but the help came over from Padula, frustrated the big man, turns it over, and trust me, that was a point of emphasis with Nate Oates. He said, you better turn and be careful and value the basketball with your passes. So far, Alabama not passing the test.
Well, Ole Miss has done it defensively, but on the offensive end, a very slow start. 1 for 5 from the floor. Murray contested 2, and the rebound into the hands of Jaron Stevenson. 5 turnovers in the first 3.5 minutes for Bama. Trap on the baseline. Good ball movement. Philon tries to split him. And it's turnover numbers. Oh, I thought it was.
By some high IQ players here for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Top 25 showdown tonight. Ole Miss and Alabama. 2 of the remaining 3 undefeateds in the nation's best conference. Mohamed Diabate lost his footing going in. Whips it out. Bad spacing by Bama. Philon just got it off. That was nearly a turnover number 6.
Sure.
What does Ole Miss need to do on the offensive end?
Stay patient. They can play inside out. They've really got 5 guys on the court right now that can shoot the 3. That makes them a pretty tough cover.
Padula goes baseline. Sears covered him up when he got to the rim. Here's Sears, transition. Padula jumped on his right hand and gets whistled for the foul.
You got to spread them out with shooters. And as good as Alabama's offense has been, they haven't been that efficient from 3, just 228th in the country.
Yeah, they're second to last in the SEC, shooting just 32% from deep. And there's another turnover. Credit the Ole Miss defense for the takeaways. Dia in the paint spins it off the window.
Malik Dia is a guy that I thought could have been up for SEC Player of the Week. 20 points, 8 boards, 5 of 10 from 3, and 2 victories, including a road win at Arkansas. He's playing well. 4th
steal of the game for Ole Miss, corner 3, and the Rebels jump in front thanks to another takeaway.
I have not seen, I know it's only first 5 minutes, I haven't seen Alabama's offense this disrupted all season long.
Then high off the window, good for Aiden Holloway off the bench. It is a little bit shocking that Ole Miss has played so well defensively, and the lead is only 1.
And you got 7 turnovers, including that last, or the shot clock near violation. but a good finish by Holloway on the other.
Well, speaking of Bama and their offense, 8 of their first 10 field goals against A&M came from 3. Sears kicks into the corner. Here's Youngblood. And a long rebound hauled in by Brakefield, and he keeps it himself and gets it to go. And when they're not doing that, they're top 10 in the country in block shots.
It's not so surprising Ole Miss's defense is playing so well. It's the fact that they're doing it against this type of opponent early in the game. But Nate Oates knows how to make adjustments in game, see what they can get.
Another corner 3. Youngblood hits this one. We'll see if that impacts the defensive spacing.
Really nice driving kick.
Nobody picks up Padula. It was in and out. Sears was a touch late coming over. Sears goes baseline. Reverses it short. And the Rebels have a chance to push the tempo. And an Ole Miss turnover on a carry
for the season, and they've got to have Youngblood step up and be that perimeter threat.
Another one from the corner, and he is 2 of 3 from the corner. Youngblood, last year's AAC Co-Player of the Year, is one of 7 1,000-point scorers in this Alabama roster. Step back 16-footer, no good. Dia crashing the glass, and a whistle on a reach in after the rebound.
Well, Youngblood is playing with a ton of confidence, and that wasn't necessarily the case when he came back from injury, but now he's starting to get into a rhythm. And even better, Tom, is he did as good a job as anybody on the perimeter for Texas A&M. When they struggled to guard, keep him out of the paint, it was Youngblood who really took advantage of that matchup against Phelps.
Matthew Morrell picked up by Youngblood. Turnaround fadeaway, and Nelson's got the board.
And that's a prime example. Morrell usually can get a cleaner look than that, but with 6'3", 220 on him, Youngblood didn't give him any breathing room.
Sears picked up his dribble, bailed out by Holloway. An Alabama team that is 6th in the country in time of possession. They usually only use 15 seconds of the shot clock in a reach-in foul. We got a women's college basketball doubleheader Sunday afternoon. Stanford takes on number 16 Duke at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on ESPN2 from Cameron Indoor. Then Tahina Paopao, number 2 South Carolina, play host at 13th ranked Oklahoma, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Big win for Dawn Staley's team against Texas last Sunday. That last foul was on Dre Davis. Bam on a 6-0 run thanks to the threes coming alive. Sears matched up with Dia. Nelson into Dia this time. It was just a switch fest. Whoa, how did he get free? Nelson turned the corner and dropped the hammer. $8-0 Alabama run. Jumper off. Rebels 1 of 5 from deep. And Youngblood fouled by Morrell. It's on the season. Here's Nelson. Ooh. And he's fouled hard on his way to the rim. And
Sears.
But the rule came about because it wasn't that long ago that a basketball coach would say, if there's a really bad free throw shooter got hit hard, he'd say, oh, you must be hurt. You got to come out of the game because we got somebody really good we can put in, especially in clutch time. Now, if there's blood involved or if it's a flagrant, then you get to choose who will shoot the free throw.
Good explanation. Well, Ole Miss has been pretty good defensively, even though Alabama started to figure it out. But this is not going to be a low-scoring game. They've got to get something going offensively.
Nice flush on the feed from Padula. That ends a drought of 2.5 minutes for Ole Miss. Malik Diaz got half of Ole Miss's points tonight. Sears with a shake, and now a mismatch with Dia.
They switch a lot, so you got to see if you can switch into an opportunistic matchup.
Amori from point-blank range, and that's exactly what Nate Oates told us to shoot around today. They had a couple of possessions early in the Texas A&M game that got down to under 5 seconds on the shot clock. Padula high off the glass. And I asked him,
Yeah, and it can't just be a stagnant switch, watch somebody go to work. It's got to be within the motion of the offense.
Stevenson downhill, and he's fouled by Barnes on his.
Those blue-collar hard hat, and he's won the last two. Get it, I'll go get it myself, leading to the foul.
Corner three, good by Matthew Morrell.
What's great about that is they love to send Morrell ball side typically. That's an adjustment where we say, hey, we're going to give them something they hadn't seen in recent games, and they send them opposite.
Sears off the back rim, and Padula had to fight with Stevenson for it. They're going to get Stevenson for the push. Just the second make from deep for Ole Miss tonight. Brakefield offers a screen. Padula on Holloway. Shot clock at 8. Turnaround, fadeaway, tough shot. Jay Davis made it look easy. Coming off a 10-point performance in the win against LSU. And here's Ole Miss with great defense again. Morrell back to Murray.
I'd like to see Murray take this and penetrate on the big man.
Really broke his ankle. Couldn't squeeze it off. Shot clock at 10. Sears guarding Padula. Only drew the front of the rim, and Bama a chance to push. Sears. And there's a whistle on the Mark Sears drive. They'll say it was on the floor. And last year set a school record with 198 made free throws. River comes to the SEC. Texas in Norman to take on Oklahoma.
How about the job Mike White is doing at Georgia, huh? I mean, I don't think anybody had him and the Bulldogs in the top 25. Yet here they are with that returning backcourt and Asa Newell, the star freshman.
Jalen Murray trying to get to the block over Holloway. That was 5'11" versus what's listed as 6'1". Sears, no look, wrap around, and off the window and good.
And that play all started by trying to screen the guy that you expect to switch, which is your man. Nice job by Youngblood.
Padula with a hop down the lane. And now Youngblood left wide open. He's only 2 of 4 from 3. You got a big elephant mascot harassing you back there?
Yeah, I felt something touch me on the back. Getting a little distracted.
Lob, a little late. Dia, good touch.
Nice strong finish in the paint through contact once again.
He's got 8 of the Rebels' 21. There's a hammer pass into the corner.
Got to be happy with the looks if you're Nate Oates. 2 wide open threes for one of your hottest shooters.
Sean Padula transferred to Ole Miss from Virginia Tech. Got a half step, turns into a fadeaway. Got it.
Well, and that's where Alabama wants to send Ole Miss, is actually in the middle, make them get to the traffic where the crowd is. But Ole Miss really likes to rely on those pull-up mid-range shots about 8 feet away, something most teams aren't able to convert on as high as Ole Miss does.
This is a 4-2 game at the first media timeout. Line for Alabama. Alabama. And Diabate knocks them both down. This was an ugly start, but both teams have picked it up. Bama still with 6 turnovers in the first 8 minutes. They've still turned it over on a third of their possessions tonight.
But much more under control in the last 8 minutes or so.
And the rebound fought for, but Eduardo Klapke couldn't haul it in. Phylon into Padula. And Dia the rebound.
And Nate Oates didn't like that. A no-pass offense. Try to get the ball moving a little bit and then drive. Defense was totally set.
Padula trying to work on Phylon. Dia on Diabate with a spin move. Tried it again. Too strong. Trent Nelson back on the floor. He left with an elbow injury after the last hard fall, and he goes right down to the floor again. They'll whistle this one as a jump ball. Bull on the floor for Ole Miss at 7-2. Rush shot on Holloway. Sherrill, and going to the line.
Well, and I love that by Holloway. I think in his freshman season, he might have settled and pulled for three, but he saw the taller, slower defender out on him. He does a blow-by, creates the advantage on the interior here, draws the help defense, and all of a sudden it's really three guys on Holloway, and Sherrill does the rest.
They got Eduardo Klafke for the foul. Sherrill used every bit of the backboard that time.
I mean, but if you're Chris Beard, you got to be really happy right now. You got to close out this half and get a couple buckets on this in the court to where your offense isn't putting so much on your pressure on your defense to win the game.
Padula kicks. Dia on Nelson. He is agile for a big guy, 6'9", 250, and he's got double figures. Now sitting on 10.
I mean, we've seen him do it all in transition. We've seen him in the pick and roll game, and that time just doing an ISO with the opponent's big man.
He's coming off of a 19-point performance. Aiden Holloway.
Right in check.
Alabama gets 19 points a game from the free throw line. Highlighted by the performance against A&M. They had 27, and A&M had 28 from the free throw line. But offensive rebounds were also a big key against the Aggies, and Bama doesn't have a single old board yet tonight. Murray step back three. Well, they say it's a two. They're going to take a look at it.
Turnaround. I'm sure that has a little bit of effect, even though I'm sure Chris Jans isn't buying it.
Nelson with a beautiful pass over the top. They're cutting Jaron Stevenson.
With all the turnovers, you might want to start calling some plays.
Turnaround jump hook in and out. Youngblood finds Nelson. He draws a lot of attention. There's a double on the block. He dribbles it all the way out top. Well, a few times Bama will have a shot clock in the single digits. Holloway. Tough shot. Mark Sears never touched it. 5-point Bama lead. Largest lead of the game for the Tide. Dia, full head of steam. Followed his own miss.
Well, because he attacked the hole so aggressively, it shoved Grant Nelson into the backstand to where that offensive rebound was right in front of him. I mean, you turn down a three and attack the rim, this is how you do it. Dia takes it right to his chest, and all of a sudden, even on a miss, there's nobody there to clean it up except Dia himself.
1:22 to go in the first half. Both teams 3-0 in the league, and Alabama with a 3-point lead. Quick timeout by Ole Miss and Chris Beard. They don't play zone very often. Let's see what they put in coming out of the timeout. Holloway picked up by Murray.
Again, they've got to watch the switches here, does Ole Miss.
Padula's guarding Sears. Beautiful look. The jam blown, and they got basket interference. It'll be no bucket.
I said switches, I mean slips, and Stevenson got him on the last out of timeout. They do another one again here. A wrinkle to the last possession, and Stevenson misses the easiest two he'll have in his career at Alabama. You can't draw it up any better than that.
11 first half turnovers for the Tide. They averaged 12.5 a game. Sears with 5. Trying to work on Dia. Lost his balance to the wing. 3 ball. Good! 6 seconds left in the first half. Rebels get it in with 3. Padula spins at midcourt. And he left it just a hair short. LeBaron Philon only had 1 point and 2 fouls in the first half. Padula poked it away, and then Nelson wrapped him up.
Yeah, that's a great play by Padula, and Nelson turns it over right there on the first possession out of the halftime. And we've seen Nate Oates call some really good plays out of the timeout, but the start to certain halves has really bothered him the past couple games, and the focus and attention to detail.
Here's Matthew Morrell, 3 points in the first half, a near turnover. Regathered by the Rebels, and Dia from the corner. Rebounded by Philon deep. LeBaron Philon got off balance, put up an air ball from 4 feet. No numbers for Ole Miss. Here's Dia. Tried to follow his Ole Miss.
Yeah, they're getting pretty good looks, are the Rebels. They've just got to knock some of them down.
Stevenson came flying in. Open three won't go. Offensive rebound knocked out of bounds. It will stay with Alabama. This is a Bama team that gets 15 points per game, or pardon me, 15 offensive rebounds a game. That is 8th best in the country. Held to 2 offensive rebounds to this point.
Yeah, and it's really tough to do when they take as many threes because those long rebounds are tough to corral, but the Rebels have done a terrific job of that.
Padula got his hand on that one. 15 seconds left in the shot clock.
This guy is so tough, is Padula. I mean, you see his offensive numbers. It's just so hard to contain his impact on the game defensively and offensively.
Sears goes back door, and that one ends up in the second row.
Yeah. Nate Oates has had enough. Grant Nelson means well, plays his heart out, but just too sloppy with the ball here as he tries to hit a back-cutting Sears. That ball just had no chance whatsoever. He was going to be in traffic even if he did catch it.
Barnes gets cut off by Sears. Padula right by Dia, got in the paint, and a nifty shot to get that off before Amore can block it.
He just finds a way. You cut him off, he turns his back, he can hit you with a little mid-range fadeaway or get all the way to the rim. Just super efficient on that end of the court.
And that one knocked out of bounds. You saw Grant Nelson putting a heating aspect around his waist. Here's Padula getting to the rim.
Yeah, gets cut off, just uses his body, finds an angle, and his transfer from Virginia Tech. He's averaged 15 and 16 the last 2 seasons, doing about the same thing here in Oxford. Has 8 siblings, and you can see that pays off having that many people to play with in the driveway.
Amore commits his second. It's a second Bama foul that occurs at midcourt after a turnover.
I mean, this looks like the start of the first half, right? Just sloppiness from Alabama, careless with the basketball, and too many wasted possessions. It's amazing that we're only 2 minutes into the second half, and Ole Miss has 19 more field goal attempts than Alabama, yet the Tide have the lead.
Ole Miss only shooting 35%. And just 2 of 12 from deep. Skip pass, dangerous. And a beautiful left-hand reverse from Malik Dia. He's at 14 now.
I'm with you. I don't know how that wasn't intercepted by Diabate. It looked like it went right over his head.
Here's Sears to Holloway. They end up with a 3 from the right side, and that is off the mark for Youngblood. Youngblood tied up with Dia. Padula behind him. Ole Miss last led at the 14-minute mark. Rebels looking for a second half advantage. Dia draws a double, and it's taken away, and the jump ball will keep it this direction. The shot to the jaw felt like for Chris Youngblood.
Yeah, the graduate transfer out of South Florida. I mean, there's guys you want to try to post up perimeter players for Alabama. Youngblood's not one of them. I mean, he just doesn't get much. Getting 6'4", 223. Really holds his ground well.
And a fight through an ankle injury in preseason practice cost him a couple of games. Off the baseline out of bounds, Morrell couldn't find a home.
They've got him 3 really good looks on those baseline out of bounds plays. Just 1 of 3 though.
Sears step through. First bucket of the second half for Mark Sears. Bama back up by a deuce. Here's Murray. Floater. Feels like a danger zone for Ole Miss. Sears with a shake. Padula rips it away. Defense travels for the Rebels. 3-on-2. Padula to Morrell. And he gets it to the rim.
Great job not settling for mid-range or three. And Padula, his active hands, gets over 2 steals a game. Just has incredible instincts.
And Padula got beat off the bounce. The result is his second personal. It's 15. Alabama came in turning it over 11 times a game. Diabate down the lane. First field goal for Mohamed Diabate. Diaz at the end of the bench talking with the training staff. They need him back in a hurry. Meanwhile, Jalen Murray says, I'll pick up the slack. His second triple of the game.
Just
Ole Miss
awesome
back in
read.
front.
Excuse me, Tom. Awesome read by Murray. He sees his defender go under the screen, just pops back out for the flare.
Sears went down with it. And we get a jump ball. And another turnover. Taken away by David Barnes. Turnover number 16 for the Tide. Nice look, and the back cut cashed in by Jalen Murray.
Yeah, much better job by Brakefield staying patient. A couple possessions ago, he missed Padula on a similar cut. That time, he stayed with it.
Nelson's got a size advantage. He's got the 5'11" Murray on. And another turnover.
And you see where they are just keeping Alabama on this side of the court, making them go baseline and throw across the middle of the court. Interceptions all over the place.
Is that because they're taking away the hammer pass, or they're just in their line of sight?
Actually, a little bit of both, because they're taking away the hammer, and then they're also knowing that 45 angle pass is where Alabama wants it. Just good anticipation game plan.
Shot clock at 5. Damon Brakefield. Nice touch. Largest lead of the game for Ole Miss. The Rebels looking for a road win, up 5. Grant Nelson gets a high percentage look.
And that's what they want to do, is on that penetration, you've got to cut from the opposite wing. And right now, Alabama's been standing waiting for that skip pass versus the cut. Much better job there.
Home crowd starting to get into it. Alabama is 7-0 at home this year. Here's Morrell off a double screen. Tries to take it to the rack. Nelson erases it, but there was a foul before the blocked shot. Into making mistakes. But if they play with the lead, they can just sit on the football.
They really do a great job going deep in the shot clock in the second halves. We saw them do it at Arkansas just a week ago.
Holloway lost his footing. The slip and slide down that lane. Sears going right to it. Rims out. Dia with the board.
And they have been one and done on this end. You talked about Alabama's offensive rebounding, and it's been virtually non-existent because of the physicality of Ole Miss and the size they have down low.
Now just 2 of them tonight, and they were sensational on the offensive glass against A&M. They had over 20. Nelson with the rebound. What do you think of that shot in the flow of the game?
Well, I think they could get that later in the shot clock.
Sears step back. Not having a great shooting night. Sears 2 for 6. Bama just 4 of 14. Holloway with a screen from Nelson. And Philon traveled. And we got whistles after the fact. Philon went in hard after the play had already been whistled dead because of the traveling violation.
Yet another turnover, their ball, and now you got one of the nation's ball right back.
And remember, it was a dead ball because it had already been whistled. A travel would have been Ole Miss possession. Now, instead of a 4-point lead in the ball, the 2-point lead, Alabama's got the ball. And Malik Dia is back on the bench after getting some fluids outside of the locker room. Nelson gets underneath. Got some space, and he gets a foul. Brakefield is all sorts of frustrated.
Really
that
nice.
is already the third, pardon me.
Yeah, and this was a design play by Nate Oates where he felt like, hey, they've got a rim protector down there, but if we can send one cutter through the lane, he's got to guard that one, but bring a second cutter, we think that he'll be wide open. And nice job there on the scouting report, getting Nelson the ball.
First free throw attempt of the game for Grant Nelson. He came in at just 65%. Coming up next, over on ESPN, Cooper Flagg and number 3 Duke play host to Miami at Cameron Indoor. And we got a West Coast primetime game, number 25 Baylor in Arizona, the Big 12. 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. The 42 that Flagg put up last time out was the first 40-point game for a Duke Blue Devil since J.J. Redick did it against UVA in 2006.
Well, after all that, for Alabama to only come away with 2 points, you consider that a win for Ole Miss.
Except that Brakefield now has 3 personal fouls. Here's spin move and a takeaway by Nelson. Sears guarded by Dre Davis. Sears is kind of limping around a little bit. Looks like he's in pain on the left side. And a contested shot at the rim. Here comes Ole Miss the other way. Youngblood sprints back in transition D. Padula for 3. Got it. And Ole Miss extends the lead.
A huge shot there. An opportunity for Ole Miss as their half-court offense has really struggled. And credit the Crimson Tide for their half-court defense, but that time lost one of Ole Miss's best shooters.
Sears just picked up his left hoof. He's having a hard time getting around. He might just go sit out in the perimeter. Double to Youngblood.
Alabama has not been able to assist out of that double team there.
Oh, rejected by Dia. He came from nowhere. Ole Miss might want to think about attacking Sears. Murray for 3. Sears with the rebound. We've already seen key players in the SEC go down with injuries. Janai Broom, number 1. Wake Taylor, the 4th for Texas A&M, missed a couple of games. Sears fouled by Dia with 10:33 to go in regulation.
It's been nothing easy for Alabama, whether they're turning it over or a little bit of rim protection from Ole Miss as well. Right when you think you got a layup, here comes Malik Dia out of nowhere, says, give me that. Trying to steal one on the road for the Rebels.
We have an opportunity to help those affected by the California wildfires. Go to redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. Here in Tuscaloosa, there are only 3 remaining SEC undefeateds. The third being Auburn, and Ole Miss with a road lead against number 4 Alabama. The value, if Ole Miss can hang on, the value of this win is going to echo all the way through Selection Sunday.
Oh, no question. I think if Ole Miss can pull this off, it'd be the best win of any team in the SEC this season. We've seen Auburn go out and win the Maui Invitational, including beating Iowa State. We've seen Tennessee on the road at Illinois, but for Ole Miss to do this on the road at Alabama.
I'd throw in Kentucky's win against Duke early in the season in Atlanta, because the way Duke's playing now, they're in a battle with Auburn for the overall number 1 seed. But to your point, a quality opportunity, but a turnover. Youngblood ahead of the pack. Blew the layup. And Ole Miss has numbers the other way. Klafke slows it down.
Felt like Youngblood could have stayed on the front of the rim or right side and dunked it home. Instead, kind of went up with the left layup. Got to throw that one in.
Bama's missed a couple at the rim tonight. Dia doesn't miss much. He's got 16 to lead the Rebels.
Outstanding find by Murray, who's just so poised with the ball. He looks at his pop man, finds his roller instead wide open.
4.5 minutes since Alabama has made a bucket. Quick three, short. Dia the board. Morrell got a bump from Nelson, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, good hustle from behind by Davis after a turnover. Nate Oates was not happy, thinking this was a foul on the other end. We'll see what happens here as Youngblood goes up with his left, but keep an eye on 14. There was contact on the back of the head. I couldn't quite see it there, but Nate Oates certainly thought that should have been 2 free throws, as he didn't touch the ball, and it's unlikely that Youngblood is just going to break a layup. Probably was contact on the back of the head.
Matthew Morrell knocks home the first. Ole Miss has never beaten a top 5 opponent on the road. They have a chance to make history tonight. In fact, widening out a little bit, the Rebels have lost 16 straight games against top 25 opponents.
And they've got some road opportunities on their schedule at Mississippi State, at Auburn, at Florida. But this is right up there with those. I think they've got 4 huge opportunities on the road, and if they can get this one behind them, what a box that would check on the resume, as you discussed.
The lead is 9. Nelson. No. Nelson again, yes. The largest comeback win that Bama has had this season is a 7-point comeback against Houston. Morrell wide open, strokes home the 3. And a timeout taken by Nate Oates for the line tonight. And 6 below their average of made threes on the season per game. Nelson's got 8, 2 of 2 from the line. And the Coleman crowd starting to get on its feet. Here's Padula, guarded by Sears. Dia working on Nelson. Nate Oates begging for a travel on the start of that play. Shot clock at 10. Padula wants Dia. Nelson's draped all over him. Padula has a strip by Sears. A Bama takeaway. Youngblood, what a pass! Stevenson after Youngblood threaded the needle. Nate Oates is getting talked to by Doug Shows, and it looks like a bench warning.
Yeah, I know Nate Oates is frustrated, but right now your crowd's into it. You got a big dunk. You got to stay calm here. You've made your point. Don't pick up a technical foul as you start to get the momentum.
It may not have looked bad after that last bucket, but the previous possession, Nate Oates was well past the line and nearly the midcourt. Well, here we go again. 8 minutes to play in regulation. Both teams 3-0 in SEC play. Skip pass, Padula, wide open 3, short. Oh, Stevenson got laid out by Dia. It is the 3rd personal on Malik Dia and has a chance to be elevated. Jaron Stevenson still on the court. This has been a knockdown, drag-out affair. Head athletic trainer Clark Holzer now checking on him. Here's the end of it. Dia with an elbow to the forehead trying to chase down that loose ball. Oh, we got drama in T-Town tonight. But 5 turnovers for the 5th-year senior from Devils Lake, North Dakota. He has now made 3 consecutive free throws.
And that goes back to a little bit of the continued trust and try to have a short memory. If Mark Sears is 0 for 5 from 3, Nate Oates is going to keep calling plays for him and say, get open, don't hesitate. And Grant Nelson has turned it over some more than usual, but he's still going to trust the big fella.
Ole Miss has never beaten a top 5 team on the road. They've got number 4 Alabama on the ropes here. There's 7.5 to play. Here's Matthew Morrell, guarded by Youngblood. Gets a screen from Dia, who now has Youngblood on him. Morrell kicks it. Padula late in the shot clock, short. And a fantastic offensive rebound, but taken to the floor, and it ends up being a jump ball. Dre Davis with the effort for Ole Miss. Nate Oates wanted to travel.
Yeah, he's had some phenomenal effort, has Dre Davis. He's going to come out of nowhere and sky high to get this rebound. But as he goes up for it and falls down and rolls over, I think that's a travel.
I think they had Nelson had his hands on it and tied him up before he went down. Dia takes off. Right at Nelson, rejected at the rim. Another try, banked it in, and he's going to the line.
If he doesn't break his wrist while he celebrates on the floor, the stick-to-itiveness and aggressiveness by Malik Dia. This is a man's man right here, and just initiates the contact, stays with it, says, I will not be denied. A huge and one. You want to win road games in the SEC, you better have max effort and grown man strength, like Malik Dia is showing right now for the Rebels.
Last year, Malik Dia was playing for the Belmont Bruins. He was third team All-Missouri Valley. Through now game number 4 in conference play, he was playing like a first team All-SEC guy. 19 points and a career high 14 rebounds for Malik Dia. 8-point Ole Miss advantage with 7 to play. Good share inside. Diabate misses from up close. This is an Alabama team that came in 3rd in the country in field goal percentage from 2. They've had a terrible shooting night all over the court.
It's been far tougher twos, though. It's been contested bodies around the rim as opposed to those open driving lanes for guards like Mark Sears.
Murray mismatch guarded by the 6'7" Diabate. Tries to take him off the bounce. Now in big man's land. Contested fadeaway, and Diabate won that battle. Here's Sears. Remember, we spotted a limp from Mark Sears earlier in this half, favoring his left side. Here's Youngblood, baseline. And it's knocked out of bounds, and they say that's off of Alabama. Everybody's sitting right there. Thought for sure it went off of Ole Miss.
Yeah, they're going to give that to Ole Miss. Boy, it looked like a deflection. Let's see what happens here as he pump fakes, throws that deflection off Morrell. Going the other way.
20th turnover of the night for Alabama.
But just 15 points in the second half for the #2 offense in America. What a defensive performance so far in this second half by Ole Miss.
Breakfield to Dia. Out of bounds, back to Bama.
I mean, I thought Ole Miss played probably about a 9 out of 10 defensively in the first half. Didn't know if they could get any better in the second half given Alabama's adjustments that they could make. But they've been a 10 out of 10 so far. This has been exceptional.
Bama in the second half, 5 of 16 shooting, including 0 for 4 from 3. And another takeaway, turnover number 21.
They're trying to hit those skip passes because Ole Miss sinks so much and they bring so much help side, but the deflections and active hands and anticipation by Ole Miss has been really good.
The 3rd steal of the night for Morrell. Frustrating finish for Jalen Murray.
They've got to get the tempo going.
Sears, no good.
He just has really struggled at the rim this season compared to last year.
Under 5 to play. Sears is 9 points tonight. He came in leading the SEC at 19 a game. Preseason conference player of the year. Breakfield directing traffic late in the shot clock. Now 3, 2, 1. And Dia's got the offensive rebound. And back up and in. Timeout, Ole Miss. It's a 10-point lead. Malik Dia's got 21 and 17.
They will grind this thing out, go late in the clock. You must try to find a way to get stops and scores and get your home crowd into it. Right now, there has not been the home crowd advantage Alabama would like to have, given the inefficiency on offense.
Here's Holloway. Driving on Morrell. Hammered into the corner. Big time corner three. Darren Stevenson back.
That was enormous for a guy that's been struggling. Steps up big time when they needed it most.
Padula steps through, has it rejected. Stevenson with the block. Bama chance to push if they want. Holloway crossed over, still hasn't passed it. And they're going to get a hold on Dre Davis as Nelson faked the slip. And he misses the front end. Dia with a very physical rebound. He sent his own teammate into the photons.
I would be surprised if this ball gets shot before 10 seconds on the clock. They're going to milk it.
Murray says, I found a seam. I found Dia, and he found a jam. 23 from Malik Dia.
Penetration kills, and it is so hard to keep Murray out of the paint.
Dia averaging better than 20 points a game through 4 SEC games. Holloway nearly turned it over. They get that pass into the corner, but another corner three comes up short. Under 3 to play with a 9-point lead.
And this Alabama team is just not a very good three-point shooting team. They're pretty average, and 5 of 17 right now on the night.
Padula will pull the trigger with 5. And he lets it fly. Over Nelson. Sean Padula with his second 3 of the game. It's a 12-point Ole Miss advantage with 2:20 to play. What a night for Chris Beard's.
Great job by Murray.
Mark Sears, that same total against number 18 Temple in 97. Sears knocks down them both. 10-point game. Dane mentioned it earlier, maybe the most impressive win for an SEC team this season. If Ole Miss can pull this off in Coleman Coliseum, where Nate Oates has won 83% of his SEC games. Murray, guarded by Holloway, gets deep, gets up, gets it rejected. Bama can score in bunches. Can they go on a run late? Holloway, got it. 12-20-13. Off the press, Nelson with a trap. They thought it was a travel. The whistle didn't come there. And the Rebels will break the press and get it in the hands of Murray. They want him to push up against the midcourt line. Nate Oates is 2 steps onto the floor. 1:20 to play. 10 on the shot clock. Rebels are going to have to work to get a clean look. 5 on the shot clock. Off the back of the rim, Stevenson to rebound. Down 8, 1:08 to play. Open 3, transition, no. Rebound, followed by Youngblood. 1 minute to play and a stoppage.
15 of 22 on the year, but has not attempted a shot all game.
And Brakefield gets fouled by Nelson. 71% of the season. That is the 3rd on Grant Nelson. 56 seconds left in regulation. The Tide has scored the last 6 in this game.
Now obviously a dead ball, can't run, of course. Still one more foul before the bonus.
David Barnes will inbound it. We're going to try to chase down Murray, who's an 87% free throw shooter. Murray gets rid of it. They can't stop the clock just yet. Now Nelson has to commit his 4th. Ole Miss and Alabama, both 3-0. Auburn has finished up its home win in the jungle against Mississippi State. 22-point victory, and the #1 ranked Tigers are now 4-0 in conference play. These 2 teams will join them there at the top of the SEC. Jamin Brakefield's got another one coming. 71% on the year. 2 for 2 tonight. Fifth-year senior from Jackson, Mississippi. Calmly drains them both. The lead back up to 8. Holloway. Ole Miss showing zone, or they're switching everything, and Holloway gets downhill and is able to draw the foul on Dre Davis. Ole Miss just kind of switched things up on him.
And they denied Mark Sears that entire possession and tried to take away Holloway's three, send him to the basket. And Alabama can score in a hurry, but 8-point deficit, 40 to go. This is going to be about Ole Miss taking care of the ball and making free throws. If they can do that, they walk away with the best win, in my opinion, the SEC's had so far this season.
To come into this building and hold the nation's best offense to 60 points. Alabama is in the midst of a school record 53 consecutive games where they've scored 70 points or more.
Well,
it's been since January of 23 that they've been held below 70.
And I thought the first few minutes of the second half was huge. That was a chance for Alabama to extend their lead, get their offense going, and instead they turned it over time and time again, and Ole Miss capitalized on those.
Perfect from the free throw line tonight. He's got a baker's dozen, under 40 seconds to play. Phylon re-enters for Bama. Ole Miss has flown under the national radar all season. That would end tonight should they knock off number 4. In an SEC that is absolutely loaded top to bottom, sometimes it's hard for a team to grab the spotlight when you've got the drama at Kentucky and at Arkansas, the great play at Auburn, the great play here all throughout this league. And now Chris Beard's team is going to start to get the attention it deserves.
100%. I mean, if they can close this game out, you've been talking about, all right, who can win the SEC? Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. And now all of a sudden you got to start saying, you know what? Maybe the Rebels can. And with a 4-0 start, how could you leave them out? And what Chris Beard is doing, again, just year 2 in the turnaround they've had defensively from last year to this year's identity has been phenomenal.
Brakefield has earned another one. They have put the locks on this Alabama offense, held to just 62 points. The 91.1 is the best in the country. 4 offensive rebounds, half of their totals from 3.
Well, it helps when you've taken 26 more shots than the opponent. Ole Miss has taken 70 field goals to 44 for Alabama because of those turnovers and lack of offensive rebounding.
Switching everything now. Holloway on Morrell. Contested fadeaway for 2.
They've got to get better denials here.
Stevenson jumped off the ball. That allowed Brakefield to get through.
I got to compliment Brakefield. Inbounding the ball into those pressure situations, you need to have one of your better passers doing it, but also a guy that can make free throws. You usually have your worst free throw shooter doing it, but instead they've got a good passer, and then as soon as he inbounds it, they're throwing it right back to him, and he's 5 of 5 from the line tonight.
Yeah, so one other thing that Ole Miss has done, throwing a curveball at Alabama under a minute to play, is when they first threw out the zone. Alabama has only faced 34 possessions of zone tonight. Now, it doesn't always seem like a true zone because they match up so well and they switch everything, but it's thrown off Alabama's rhythm trying to find a late bucket.
Yeah, it's been a lot harder to deal with the switches, and on the offensive end, the balanced scoring. That's 5 guys in double figures. Yes, Malik Diaz has been the best player on the court, but he's had plenty of help.
Youngblood, quick release. Long rebound comes down to Jalen Murray. He's fouled with 18.7 left.
Tom, Chris Beard said in the press conference the other day, he said, look, I know it's early in conference play, but this is a first place game.
Indeed.
And you know what? The Ole Miss Rebels are going to be right up there in first place, barring a collapse in the final 19 seconds.
Missouri and Florida follow us here on ESPNU. They're already underway with Missouri with an early lead on the 5th-ranked Gators, and the Bama faithful will hit the road. They head to the doors with Ole Miss up 9 with 18.7 left. Another one coming for Jalen Murray. This will be the first ever road win against a top 5 opponent for the Ole Miss Rebels.
I thought they could win the game in the 70s. I did not think they could hold the Crimson Tide to 64 points.
Alabama with just 28 points in the half. The lowest for any half this season. 74-64. The Rebels stay undefeated. They go to 4-0 in conference play. Their first ever win against a top 5 opponent on the road.